For my final, I did applied behavior analysis, often referred to as ABA. So applied behavior analysis teaches individuals with disabilities socially significant behaviors. It's usually used in schools that teach students who are on the autism spectrum. Reinforcement and rewards are really key when it comes to applied behavior analysis. We really want to, reward the behavior that is good and we obviously don't want to reward socially, stigmatizing behavior. So behaviors, when paired with a reinforcement, are likely to be repeated, which is why reinforcement and rewards are really key. So applied behavior analysis, it's not so much like a definition. It's done in a one-to-one setting, which really right off the bat is what makes it unique. And it's so that student who obviously is having trouble learning in a regular school's system can come to a program like mine and do one-to-one teaching. And it focuses on specific behaviors, as I said, and the goal is to decrease the behavior, to increase the desired behaviors and decrease those behaviors that can be socially stigmatizing. So again, I kind of just put a little, graph here, or a picture, sorry. Now, ABA, it's important that data is measurable. Obviously, so it's recordable. And then, like I said, socially significant behavior. Again, I work with mainly autistic students, and that is what ABA is usually used in. And a lot of times, it's socializing, and they don't obviously fully understand. So we really want to teach those behaviors of, how, I don't want to say how to properly, the proper behaviors. So, and then they're really able to take it from the school and use it in other settings. So that is really great. And I have seen really meaningful change in students. I tend to work with the older students who are getting ready to graduate and move on, whether it's a job or into a residential or whatever whatever their parents have decided that they're doing. And, there is really significant. The U.S. Surgeon General and the American Psychological Association agree that ABA is evidence-based, and it's really, again, the best practice. That's why it's used that's why it is widely used for, like I said, it is proven to be effective, there really are good outcomes, and 90% of children in one of these surveys researched were found to have made substantial gain using ABA surveys. So ABA is unique in that it understands that individuals who have disabilities are not all the same. They all have their own set of skills and deficits, and so it's really kind of tailor-made for them. ABA is not a one-size-fit-all kind of program. Each student, has their own IEP where a team of, it's usually the BCBA, the parents, maybe somebody from the district, and then the special ed teacher getting together and determining what the best programs and objectives are needed for each individual student. So when we do ABA, there's something called ABC. It's quite simple. This is how we track behavior, which again, behavior is key in terms of ABA. We want to increase, increase those socially, the good behaviors and decrease those socially stigmatizing behaviors. So ABC, when it comes to applied behavior analysis, is antecedent, behavior, and consequence. So an antecedent is just what happened right before the behavior. Whatever that behavior that's being targeted for reduction, whatever happened right before that. So it could be a demand, asking the student to put something away, or it's time to start work. Could be another student having a problem behavior. I've seen, a fire alarm going off. It could be anything, but it's what happened right before that behavior that was targeted for reduction occurred. So the B obviously is going to be behavior. That's the unwanted behavior that is being targeted for reduction. Now, behaviors must be observable and measurable. That is really important. We've struggled sometimes with things that you can't really measure. So that is really important when it comes to ABA. And again, it could be a physical, such as a SIB, self-injurious behavior, or harming somebody else, or it could be a verbal, a non-compliant, not following through with the direction. And then C is consequence. So the consequence is what directly happens after the behavior, which again is unique to every individual student and what that behavior is. The consequences are set in place by the BCBA and then, carried through by the SPED and the other teachers in the room. It could be a verbal response, it could be a loss of something, take away a computer. Sometimes if the reason for the behavior is attention, there's no response given. Again, it's really tailored to the individual student. So when we are collecting data, this form is extremely important. It allows the BCBA to fully see in front of them what happened. So you're going to take, you got to fill it out, date and time, location, your antecedent, your behavior, and your consequence. So this allows the BCBA to enter this information, and then they're able to do, a lot of their FBAs, their functional behavior analysis, and determine why this behavior is happening, and then how we can reduce it. So ABC data is really, really important when it comes to applying. As I said, so this example was given on Autism Speaks website. It just shows you, so before using ABA, you could say to a student, okay, it's time to clean up your toys. The student yells no. A consequence would be the teacher removing the toy and saying toys are all done. Obviously, we don't want our students, we want them to listen to their teachers and whatever the direction is given. So using ABA, you can turn this around and say, okay, once we've done the teaching, the teacher says it's time to clean up. The student is reminded to ask, can I have 5 more minutes? The teacher says, of course you can have 5 more minutes. So we really like to reinforce that, when they are using the skills that they've been taught, that is important. It's not, we're not trying to be negative. Obviously, we're trying to decrease those socially stigmatizing behaviors. But, we do want to reinforce the good behaviors. I do have a little video. It's just an introduction. It's so loud. I'm sorry. It's an introduction to ABA. I just kind of wanted to show a little bit of it. I'm not going to show this whole video. Teacher is going to talk a little bit about it.
Applied Behavior Analysis. ABA stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. The goal of ABA is to teach children the skills that they need to learn from their environment. Basically, it's identifying specific behaviors and modifying them and keeping data on them so that you can tell what is changing.
She worded that very well, better than I did. It's important. Again, we want to see those changes, and then we go from there and kind of see how we're gonna shape them into the way that we want.
1, 2, 3. Who's in school today? Who's in school today? Who's in school today? Who's in school today? When you begin an ABA program, you assess the child and you identify different skills that you want to work on. A very important part of an ABA program is figuring out what's reinforcing to the child. So you would use a reinforcement assessment to determine what's going to motivate the child to.
This is extremely important. Every student, it's different for everybody. So you may have one student that really is reinforced by goldfish crackers, and the other student could care less about that. So it's important, again, and it just kind of reiterates how unique and individual ABA is, that those reinforcements are going to be specific to that student.
And the more powerful the reinforcement, the more rapid learning will occur. I try and stay away from food reinforcement. I use computer. Most of my children love computer, and they'll work for computer. They'll do anything for computer. I have one student who works for the piano. I have one student who works for puzzles. Well, he works for puzzle pieces. So as we're working, every couple of answers that he gets right, I give him a puzzle piece, and then when the puzzle is filled up, he can go and play with it. It really depends on the child. I have one kid that loves high fives. So, yeah, something as simple as that you could, it's more natural. I keep data during one-to-one.
She made a really good point. Again, it could be easy as a high five. It really all depends on the student and what works for them. And it could be difficult sometimes to find what is reinforcing for them, but that is what the team is there for. That's, we have the FBAs, and you can do you can do an analysis on what they like. It's really, again, it's unique and individualized. I hope you learned a lot about ABA. And, yeah.